tulip. Let's give the girls what they want. Howdy, my darling Leo. How you doing, friend? Let's get into your weekly tarot reading for July 2023. See what's manifesting for you, see what's going on, darling, all right? And see what guidance we can be giving you at this time. I already had a card flying out. If you do enjoy this tarot reading, Leo, be sure to give this channel some support. The best way to do that is just giving this video a like and subscribe, all right? And if you do want to book a private tarot reading with me, you can look at my website, SimplyVelca.com. All right, linked down below. But yeah, so the card that came flying out here, Leo, girl, focus, there we go, is the Emperor energy, which is associated with Aries here, but you are a Leo, and so you might be dealing with an Aries in the coming days, or you just have Aries in your chart. Whatever the case is, you might want to check out Aries reading if you feel called to it here. But with this Emperor energy, Leo, I like this because I feel like this is the state of where you're coming in at, all right? Now, Leo, I would kind of just generally associate you with the Emperor because you guys are the ones that really have a lot of talent, and it's like what you have to say is always going to be worth being heard by a lot of different people. You are also somebody that when you walk into a room, you are able to get a lot of attention, even if you don't necessarily want it, Leo. I feel for you, you have been in this place of where you have been trying to tap into that more. And as you get more and more comfortable, Leo, with you being the Emperor here, I see a lot of success coming your way. I have your cards laid out here, so I'm gonna show them to you one by one, and we'll pull clarifiers when it's necessary here. But you know, I do see for you, Leo, that with this Ten of Wands, it's like even if success comes to you like right now or tomorrow, it's not gonna necessarily be like an overnight success type of story for you, because I see that you guys have been putting in a lot of work. You guys have been weighed down to quite a bit, probably through stresses of drama, bad investments when it comes to people, and maybe on some level as well, Leo, you have been in this point of trying to figure out like what to invest into that will serve to be of value to you rather than just taking a lot of time. So as an example, as an analogy, Leo, so don't take this literal for me, for you, but like I like to use myself as an example. So how I would apply this to myself as like a random scenario is that, you know, I've been grinding it out when it comes to tarot, and so I've been trying to figure out like what platform is for me, and you know what is worth the time investment, right? And so for you here, Leo, this is a sense of where, you know, maybe you've been putting yourself out there a lot on social media, maybe you've been really grinding it out when it comes to just yourself, when it comes to your job, whatever the case is, and you haven't really quite received that payout yet. I can promise you here in the coming days, Leo, that payout is going to be coming in relatively soon, all right? And so if I saw this for myself, I'd be like, all right, the only platform that doesn't love me any is YouTube. Everywhere else I can get hundreds if not millions of views on a video, but on YouTube, honey, she don't like me on the algorithm here, right? But I would be seeing this, Leo, and I'd be like, all right, you know, it's gonna be hard for a while, you know, it's still necessary for me to grind it out on YouTube, but it's not necessarily something that I need to just throw away and see as baggage here. I just need to continue to invest more energy, more resources into it. And I feel like that's your story here, Leo, is that eventually there's going to come a point in time with this Ace of Pentacles that it's going to pay off in tenfold for you here, all right? And once the blessings start coming, they're not going to really stop. It's going to be a continuous stream of blessings here, all right? With the Eight of Wands here, this is a card of quick success, and it's also a card that can represent closing off the distance on something here. And so you might be, I get this sense for you, Leo, you might have been working on a project consistently here, and the main message I want to be saying for you is that you're not wasting your time doing this here. Intuitively, when I look at these cards here, the only suggestion that I can be having is that, well, let me not project my intuition quite yet onto this. Let's pull a tarot card. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. It's essentially just telling you, Leo, that your time is coming. All right, you know, you started out 2023 with high hopes and dreams. You might have already recently started a project due to like a New Year's resolution that you made for yourself, and then you might be seeing the initial results of it being underwhelmed. And even if you have been in this place, Leo, of wanting to do certain projects, wanting to do whatever the case is, don't be expecting it to be an overnight success. But at the same time, don't take this and catastrophize it either, Leo, where you convince yourself it's going to take years and years and years and years to get to the place that you want to be, right? You know, I'm not going to see my views on YouTube and be like, oh, okay, so I guess this isn't really worth the payoff, and by the time like I reach the goals that I want to on YouTube, it'll take far too long. Didn't work like that on me on other social medias, darling. There came a point in time where I was just uploading videos online on like TikTok, for example, and I was only getting a couple thousand views per video, and then just one day started getting hundreds of thousands and then millions of views on my videos, right? And so it wasn't never a case of it being like an overnight success. It was just a case of putting so much on my side of things that eventually it would be illogical for my manifestations not to come true, not to come into fruition for you. And so if you are thinking about starting a project of any type, Leo, keep that energy and remind yourself of that there, all right? This is not going to be a case of where you're wasting your time doing something and it's going to amount to nothing. It's going to pay off here. And I know this might not sound like the most promising of messages, right? Sometimes we want something of substance to prove our work here, Leo, but only thing I can really promise you is that your time is coming. And so don't lose sight of yourself as the emperor, all right? You as the emperor, Leo, is somebody that has a unique take on the world, and you're meant to inspire people, Leo, all right? And so your story is going to be one that really does inspire other people, and I do see you having a pretty successful life story here. All right, so continuing on into your next row, Leo, we have the 5 of Wands. All right, and with that success will come jealousy, Leo. All right, so that is something I need to just give you the heads up on as you continue working things out for yourself. Even if you're not at the place that you want to be in life, Leo, I do get this sense of you have to be careful about who it is that you interact with, not in the sense that you don't need to start no longer talk to people anymore or anything like that, but understand when people are criticizing you in the coming days, Leo, check and see if the criticism is actually coming from a place of caring, or if the criticism is just a way of them trying to criticize you to make it in their point of view like you're more palatable or not as far along as you are, so they don't feel bad about themselves, right? Something that I get all the time when it comes to doing social media for a living is that I get people projecting onto me all the time. You know, they'll see me if I'm wearing makeup and they're like, oh, you're so ugly, or whatever the case is, right? They have to say these things to convince themselves of like a reality or a version of me that they want to see, so that way they don't look at me and then feel threatened or feel bad about why they aren't able to do X, Y, and Z, because their ego doesn't want to allow them to accept the fact that maybe they're just not doing something right? Or maybe they need to improve on certain things, right? Generally, you're always going to get criticism from so many people, and generally it's a projection of someone else's own limitations here. So be aware about that. I also do feel like on some level, Leo, you might be having some complications when it comes to just certain folks in your life that you do care about, right? Even from the folks that do want the best for you. I see you at this place in time, Leo, and it's gonna be some brutally honest advice here, but it's like you have to ask yourself, is it more important for you to please people in your life, even if they're family, Leo? Is it more important for you to please those people, or is it more important for you to follow your dream? For most of you, it's probably going to be the case, Leo, where you want to be following in your dream here. And I think it's more so a time of where you need to accept the fact, Leo, and you probably have seen this as well, High Priestess. But the thing about this with the High Priestess is that, well, yes, your intuition is very strong, and so you're not being delusional by having certain desires, whatever the case is, Leo. But the High Priestess, like, not a lot of people actually know what is going on with the High Priestess. Excuse me. The High Priestess is somebody that has a vision for themselves, and they are working behind the scenes. They don't feel like they have to explain themselves to other people, because the High Priestess understands that those who are meant to understand are going to understand it without them having to walk them through that whole process here. All right. And so what I would be suggesting for you right now, Leo, is that, I mean, generally, if I'm seeing this for myself here, I'd be like, all right, maybe this is not really a time for me to start trying to involve other people into my goals and into my social circle right now, because they're not conducive to what it is I'm trying to create here. All right. I do think it's important for you to start networking, to start connecting with folks that you are able to relate to. You know, if you're wanting to do social media, maybe it's time for you to start connecting with other folks that also do social media. All right. things in that nature there, because I think it's really important for you to start aligning yourself with folks that help build a similar dream that you have here. All right, I do feel like on some level here, Leo, yeah, and then we have the Ace of Pentacles here right afterwards here. I do feel like for you, Leo, you're at this point in your life as this emperor, right? Because you being this emperor right now, like there's not really many people that the emperor can confide into, right? Because people have the perception of the emperor, and not a lot of people are going to be able to relate and understand the emperor and their woes and what it is that they're going through. So you'll notice like the synchronicity with all of your messages here, Leo, of where it's just like people misunderstanding you, and then also just people in general not being very conducive to your growth. I think it's the time for you to really just kind of keep stuff within currently and only share with those who are actually going to understand. All right, I am going to be very brutally honest here, Leo. All right, you're going to be getting a lot of attention from different folks as you continue progressing through your life, and I feel as if maybe that's not necessarily their intention right off the bat here, and I feel like these are overall like good folks that are trying to connect with you, Leo, but these folks all come in with their own story. They all come with their own narrative here. All right, and that's something I had to learn as I went through and started becoming an entrepreneur myself here, is that people may come in with their most honest thoughts and their honest feelings, and they may want to connect with you, but people are always going to have this idea of like who you are and try to shape you into that. And the moment you challenge their vision of what they envision you to be, Leo, they're going to try their best to keep you in that mold, because people don't want to accept the fact that they don't actually know what is going on, right? And so it's not necessarily a bad thing. I didn't go through my experiences and then respond to it where she's like, oh, I'm not going to talk to anybody. It's like, no, I just started being a little bit more limited with who I share certain information towards. But I also understand that it's more important for me to start surrounding myself with other people who are also influencers, who are also doing, starting their businesses and stuff like that. But I also have the understanding, Leo, and this is going to be your story as well, with this Five of Wands, I also understand there's certain people, while they're also, yes, conducive to my growth, but, they're still going to have some bad eggs, for example, or people who just don't have a good relationship with their ego, and they will respond in a way of criticizing you, and it's not coming from their intentions not to really cut you down, but it's just truly like their own insecurities coming through here. And so while yes, I understand that it was important for me to start surrounding myself with other creators, but I also didn't take these other creators criticisms to heart either. Right? Whenever people start, I understand that the reality is, Leo, is that everyone's very human, and so you can take the good with the bad, but I feel like right now for you, it's more important for you to, if you're going to interact with folks, make sure you're interacting with folks that somehow play a positive role in your life or whatever it is you're trying to create in your life as that Ace of Pentacles. All right. And it's just, again, I really do need to just give you the heads up here of where it's just like, especially when you have something that is different about you, Leo, which there is, and like your ability of what it is you're capable of doing, like the reality is for you, like people are going to be threatened by that, and people may not understand what it is that you are trying to create. And so don't allow outside noise to dictate what it is that you're trying to do, because at the end of the day, you being you and you following through with you as that emperor is what's going to create that major success in your life. Does that make sense? And so you kind of have to just take the good with the bad here. But if you're going to take the good with the bad with the person, it might as well be someone that actually is not productive, but conducive to your life goals right now. All right. And just because I understand, Leo, that there's going to be people who don't understand me, other influencers, other tarot readers who might have some pent up jealousy or whatever the case is, doesn't mean they're necessarily bad people for me to connect to. It just means that whenever they have some criticism or anything like that, it's more so me understanding that either they have an ego problem, or they just don't understand what it is that I'm trying to create, because they're just doing it from the point of view that's of where they're coming from. I guess the best example that I could make, and it has nothing to do with one of my friends on here is Minnow Tarot, and he's been super helpful to me. And I know I said all this other stuff, and he truly has been nothing but a very positive, supportive force for me. But you know, if Middle Pond were to give me advice on how I should do tarot readings, you know, there's some advice I could take, but you know, if he gave me the advice where it's just like, you know, just don't worry about how you look and don't worry about, you know, dolling yourself up and stuff like that, you know, that's coming from his own personal, like how he approaches tarot, you know, whereas for me, like like the whole package is like all the, like part of like what I'm trying to express when it comes to tarot, right? And so I feel like I like to focus on like the visual experience as well as the audio experience, and then just like what it is I'm actually providing. Does that make sense? Whereas Middle Pond Tarot really just focuses in on providing the important message and to inspire. And so I really want to give again the disclaimer that like Middle Pond Tarot has never been judgmental or anything like that towards me. He's been very supportive, but I also understand if you were to give certain criticism, if I asked for it, some of it may apply to me, some of it may be helpful, but then other parts of it, it's not going to be helpful because he can only speak about like his own experience and like how he does tarot. Does that make sense? I really want to make it very, very clear once again that Middle Pond has always been a very positive force in my life and really has not been like a case of that whatsoever. But that was like the first example that I could come up with in my head if he were to have ever criticized me for certain things, because we have different goals, we have different focuses with how we do tarot cards and tarot readings and just content in general. Does that make sense? All right, enough of the disclaimers, honey. I know there's probably still going to be someone who takes this and tries to make drama or tea out of it, but it really isn't. Girl, whatever. So continuing on here for you, Leo, we have the Page of Pentacles coming in here for you. And so I really do feel like it's time for you, Leo, to really start trying to create some new things coming, girl, some new things coming into your life here, all right? With this Page of Pentacles, this is a card of getting certain things off the ground here. This is the case of exploring new projects, new ideas, and especially with this Four of Pentacles, Leo, like it's really important for you to allocate your energy towards fully expressing yourself to the fullest capabilities possible for you in specific here. All right, we do have this Five of Cups coming in as well, which is giving this implication here, Leo, of where it's like your energy has been pretty distracted here. And so I don't want to delve too deep into like what those distractions are, because I feel like it's very individualistic here, but make sure the only advice I could be giving you right now, Leo, is that don't pay attention to outside noise, because people are not going to understand Leo other than you, Leo. All right, and so you can take people's criticism and take it how it is, right, and take what's helpful to you and then leave the rest. But also ultimately here, Leo, I think it's just really time for you to set up an environment of where you set yourself up for success, because what it is you invest into with those resources as that Four of Pentacles, that's what's going to be extremely successful for you, Leo. All right, and so I really do see a lot of solid things coming into your life here, Leo, just like the small roadblocks. I don't even want to call them roadblocks, because you will be able to easily drive right around them here. Like those are the only things I can give you a heads up on. Don't get lost on the noise. As long as you understand what it is you're trying to do and your goals and all of that, the world can figure it out later on. All right, but I really do see for like success is coming into your life here. All right, so keep on investing your pentacles in what it is you have been investing into, but also don't be afraid of trying to explore different things, just as long as it's coming from a place of you as the emperor and not heeding someone else's advice, even though I'm giving you advice on doing this. Anyways, Leo, I love you so much, darling. Hopefully something in here was helpful, and I'll connect to you sometime in the near future. All right, darling? Bye.